Hello YouTube, iFixItAll here, Team iFixItAll. Had a little bit of a little warmness here come out, and I can't believe it's in the mid 40s. Seems colder than that, but yep, that is the temperature. So working on this Karmann Ghia 70 Karmann Ghia and window seals. I've got all my videos titled the same, except it's part 1 through part 35 or whatever. I may actually rename this one so people can search it and see a little bit of what I've done. Not to say I'm doing anything perfect, it's just I'm working with what I have. So we've got new window seals, and the reason they look a little purple, this seal and this seal, is because it was recommended by other VW owners that you keep those seals lubricated. Alright, so the last video I mentioned I was going to put a shim up behind the aluminum track, and I did that. Got a little bit of a shim there. I don't know if you can... Yeah, it's about 1/8 of an inch thick. That ultimately lowered the entire profile of the seal down, which in turn allows me to make adjustments on the window. I'll recap on the window one more time on the adjustments. You can adjust the window this way and that way by that one adjustment. By that one adjustment down there, you can adjust the window this way and that way, as well as inboard and outboard. The window itself is bolted onto its track assembly. You can see that. I'm always good at not having the right stuff when I'm videoing. Dang it. Okay. So you can see the mounting hardware. This gives you ability to slide the window this way or that way. And that is a major adjustment. This would be considered a fine-tune adjustment, and this is a fine-tune adjustment for the regulator. As you bring the window down, you'll notice that it's just operating on a slider system here. There's a couple of paws that ride the inside of this track. Seems like, I don't know what's in there on the other side of this item that's riveted. I would speculate it's something plastique that's riding that channel, that C channel. And it seems like that ought to be a high wear pattern. I mean, a high wear point. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I can't get much play out of it. But I tell you what, it doesn't take anything at all to throw this whole window out of whack. So that's that fine-tune adjustment. And then you've got this bolt right here. This bolt, as you roll the window up, the regulator comes around. There's a simple little chunk of steel that comes around and bumps the head of the bolt. And as you roll up, this is your stop adjustment. You'll see a piece of metal coming around, and I can't go up any further. So you combine all them, plus you use a jack, a block of wood, a bottle jack, and a shim of some sorts to get your door jacked upwards in case it's sagging any. You jack it up to get it as close as you can to the body lines, and then you step back and look at everything and you think, okay, looks good enough for the people I know. And then you test what you've got, and you've still got more adjustments. You've got this rubber that guides the door, as well as you can the door latch assembly. If you loosen these two screws, it does not adjust straight inboard or outboard. It goes, watch my finger, it'll go down as it slides back, and it'll come up as it slides forward, down as it goes back. So it'll establish a height profile for you by moving like so. Now, I think you can loosen just this bolt and then barely crack this one loose, and you can rotate this inboard and outboard just a hair, but that's only because you're playing with slop in the machining. So right now I've got doors closing and sealing within acceptable range, but the adjustment for the glass, my inboard adjustment, you'll notice this is what I've chosen. You see, if you just kind of turn that into like a little isosceles triangle, you end up with a larger gap here, and it touches up there. You want to have your glass arranged the way you like it. I would prefer to have my glass tilted back a little bit more right now. I may actually do one more final adjustment. But notice as I push in with my knee down there, to me, I want the glass to be parallel with this rubber seal, if not a little bit more tilted back. I'm talking about microns, because right now my latch is lifting up my glass as I push in, and it's increasing the gap on the top. But as I go down, the gap gets thinner. So the end result is, when I close the door, I'm not really beating the hell out of this seal here, because down here is what you got to watch. If your glass is crashing against this vertical seal, it'll eventually rip that seal out of this chrome track here. Another element is, while you're trying to determine your angle of the dangle for how you want your glass to actually approach, you're wanting to, like I said in the previous video, you want to come in and you want to have your glass hooking under this outer lip. You want it to be coming right in there. You want it to be aiming right for that target zone right in there, because you want the physical closing of the door to cause the glass to bind up on the bottom edge of this right here. So that requires a crap ton of adjustments through here. And I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to go ahead and mark it for my own purposes on video. If I can find the ideal tool, I'm going to document this for myself. I'm going to take note of that. Note of that. I could probably come outboard a little bit more here. If I can find something that is... screw it. What needs done here is you need to find out how far outboard this aluminum track needs to mount. And if you replace the screws that came with this, with your car, with different ones, make sure you accommodate the slotted opening on your aluminum track to accommodate full adjustment in an inboard and outboard. I got an idea here. This is a magnifying glass. It just pops in. Bingo. That's going to be... This body line here is interesting because it seems like they would have been trying to speak to you, saying, okay, mount your track, your aluminum track plumb with this body molding here on this side. And then come around the back end and find your locate point for your aluminum track in the rear. And then everything else. What I don't like about all of this setup is you have to fully tighten down this aluminum track, or you might as well, and then you have to put your rubber seal in, only to learn that everything needs to come this way, so you got to rip it out. And in an ideal world, I would think that it would be better to have in the rubber seal itself, if you can go through with these hole punches that they use for gaskets and what have you, mark this seal in alignment with where the oval adjustments are on the aluminum track, and hole punch out a slot in this seal where it's physically trapped up inside the track. This way you can come in with a screwdriver, loosen your screws, loosen them up, and while the seal is still in this track, you can adjust that track as required. But what I've got going on for me right now, it seems to be fine. The glass is, as it's closing, it's approaching the area that I spoke about all the way around. It's trying to hook and lip underneath that outer tiny little lip, so that when I close the door, it will physically hook underneath there. And that's what I'm after, that the window seals. As I look along through here, that's way too close. Everything seems to be under that outer seal. And that's what you want. I might be tilted inboard too much, but if I tilt outboard, I lose what I gained right here, which is to put the window into some of that rubber seal. The physical profile of the glass does not match the steel work, this radial through here. The glass is trying to say the car slopes down earlier, and so I suspect that the glass never did really seal very well, right in this corner only. Now my fix to that is I will open this up when I run back out to Lowe's or something, if I can get in there. Holy Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to put some sticky back foam right in here on this, through here. That'll cause that to protrude outward more. It'll open it up. And that will cause the glass to make contact to this earlier when the window is in the up position or when it's being rolled up, so that it will seal better. Right now, I'm not crashing the glass into the rubber. And it looks to me like, watch this. Hope you guys can see that. That little bit of play is sourced from the wear on that track right there and nowhere else. And if you measure that, it's basically a big old triangle with the base of the triangle being right there, no longer being 90 degrees. No longer being 90 degrees on the center line of that window. It's like, whatever that play is, however much it is, which could be like 0.005, 5 thousandths of a gap. Is that, I could probably do, I don't know, I could probably reverse engineer and figure it out. Who cares? There's play in the window, and that little bit of play put something in the background. Watch that piece of steel on the door, or the American flag. A little bit of play there, that means a lot for getting this window to close right. All I know is it's closing, and it's doing two things. I can come out here, open the door, roll the window up, and close it, and it will seal. And then I could be seated in the car going down the road and have the window down, and I can roll it up. Now this is where it gets tricky. I can roll the window up, and it will become in somewhat of a little bit of a bind, just shy of sealing. And so that what that requires us to do is to, while the car's moving, open it and slam it shut again, because it'll retweak itself on that vertical seal there and allow you to get like the last remaining one crank to get it sealed. I'm thinking the problem here is this seal might be too thick, like that way. And if it is, this spring I may order replacements from MT, MFG, or M&T out of Jersey, and see if their product is a little skinnier. Just FYI, if you have a loose piece of glass, because we haven't talked about that yet, I've had this window out before, and I've adjusted 7,000 ways under the sun to try to make these windows seal. What you do is you get your window mounted and your bolting hardware in, and you snug them down only. Don't tighten them. But your starting point is with your window rolled all the way up. You want to try to start off with the logic that your glass and the steel work of the door, that gap right in there, is equal to this gap here. That would be the slider forward or aft position of the window. But my window's closing. I get to move over to the driver's side, and guess what? After that, hook up all the wiring to the dash, change the oil, put the wheels on, fire this thing up. Done for the interior renovation. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, thank you.